Hey, what's up you guys? So today I'm going to be rereading Twilight. I've already kind of started it and I filmed some earlier clips, but I didn't really like them, so I deleted them. I'm just gonna re-talk about everything that I just talked about. So I'm wearing my retainer right now and I probably will for a good portion of this, so be warned if I have a lisp. I don't feel like taking it out. I just finished chapter 3, so let's just recap the first 3 chapters. Oh, and spoilers for the entire book. So first chapter, Bella goes to Forks. She's so pretentious about it. It's awesome. I love all the angst. Like, I love her being like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. Oh, Forks. Like, I love it. I'm so here for it. It brings back all the nostalgic feels. So she comes to Forks and she meets Edward and he looks like he's gonna kill her, and I am so here for that scene. Can you imagine, like, going into class and just sitting next to someone staring at you for an hour? Oh my god, I'm dying. So I'm really excited to see that scene from Edward's perspective because I want to know what he's thinking. I want to know if he's aware of how ridiculous he looks. God, Edward really acts like a serial killer in the beginning of this book. In the entire series, actually. Why am I saying the beginning of this book? So anyways, next chapter is Bella going about her day-to-day life and, you know, us as the reader realizing that she has absolutely no hobbies, and she goes to school and then Edward's not there, and then she goes to school and then Edward's not there, and then she goes to school and then Edward's not there. She does that for like a whole week, you guys. A whole week. Then the next week, Edward is back, yay! I'm really curious to see where he was that entire time. I think if she keeps it the same as her original draft of Midnight Sun, then he's gonna be in Denali, but I'm so curious. Also, one time, my cousin, sister, and I tried to make a little movie for the Denali Coven, and I played Irene. I'm curious to see what his perspective is also when he comes back to school and he and Bella are talking, because their conversation is just so comical as well. You know, like the cold and the wet. Who likes cold, wet things? So anyways, I hope this is understandable because I don't have a mic. So anyways, I'm excited to see what he thinks about that conversation, and I just love all the lines in it because he is so special in how he talks. He just is. Edward is special. So then chapter 3 happened, and in chapter 3 we had the van accident where Tyler was driving the van and he was driving too fast on ice. Don't drive fast on ice, kids. And he, you know, made a turn too quickly and he almost hits Bella with the van, but he doesn't because Edward comes and saves his day like the superhero that he is. Like Batman. Hey, I made a joke. Okay, like Batman, he comes, saves the day, saves Bella, and she is just confused as hell by what happened. And she is so good at reading people. I didn't pick this up the first time I read the book, but like in the first 3 chapters, she has essentially deduced so much information about the Cullens. Like, she's able to understand their emotions without even like talking to them, really. Like, it's blowing my mind, like, that I never noticed this because it's so ridiculous. I love it. I'm so here for it. I'm curious to see what the Cullens' reactions are, like not just Edward's, but like I'm curious to see from his perspective what the rest of his family's reaction is to him saving Bella, because like he's an idiot, but like also he's not an idiot because she's his future wife and his future mom to his child. So, you know, go him. He's playing the long game, or the short game if you think about it, because if someone saved my life, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd go for it at this point, especially because like I had a date in like a year and a half. So let's just talk about some iconic lines from the first 3 chapters. Nothing stops traffic like a cop car. Charlie doesn't hover. Pro face. Find it funny that their first conversation is about cellular reproduction, because I do. Because they reproduce later. Oh, also, Bella's reaction to the snow is just preposterous. Like, snow is fantastic. Snow gets me out of school. Even to this day in college, snow will get me out of school. It has happened before. It was fantastic. Okay, so chapter 4 is the chapter where Bella gets asked out to the dance by every single eligible bachelor at the school. It is so funny. I forgot how angry she gets about it all. Like, oh my god, it's great. I have so 100% like been there. Like, it's so irritating. Like, it's not been like I've had multiple guys come up and ask me to like a dance or something, but I have had like one guy ask me out 5 separate times. Like, dude, no means no. You don't need to keep asking. If someone tells you no, that's a no, okay? But I just thought that was so funny, and I was like laughing. And then also, stupid shiny vulva owner. That was like my favorite line ever. Still is to this day, I think, because it's just classic. And like her anger towards his car. Why do I relate? Because I have the crappiest car ever, but it's literally held together with duct tape. Okay, so I just finished chapter 5, and that chapter was about the biology class. Again, everything in this book centers around biology, right? Because reproduction is so, in biology, blood typing. Oh, also the first lunch scene where, you know, she's like radioactive spiders. A reenactment of a scene from Twilight. What do you think I am? No. One theory. Too embarrassing. Radioactive spider? Can you stop staring at me? So that is my reenactment of the lunchroom scene, and I really love their little lunchroom chats. I think they're so fun. I'm curious to see what Edward's perspective is on them, as always. I'm more curious to see what everyone else in the room is thinking. Like, because he can hear what they're thinking. So like, what are they thinking about Bella and sitting with Edward? Because we all know that Mike is mad, but what is Jessica thinking? What is Angela thinking? What is Eric thinking? I'm just thinking, what are all these people thinking? And then we get to the blood typing, and I love the blood typing scene. It's one of my favorites from the book. And when Edward comes in and swoops in and like saves the day, even though he's not really saving the day, he's just coming in at the last minute to like pick up someone who looks like they're dead. When he comes in, I'm just like, aw, Edward, he came back. Another scene with Edward. So I'm excited to see that scene in Midnight Sun as well. Okay, so it's now the next chapter. I just finished chapter 6, and we just met Jacob, and Jacob is Jacob and I love him, and Jacob is Jacob and I love him. And he's just so young, and he's so adorable, and he falls for Bella so hard. Like, she is so mean. How can she just use her feminine charms like this and not even care about him? Like, that's mean. You cannot manipulate people this way. You should not do this, Bella. That's really it that happened in this chapter, was we just met Jacob, but I wanted to talk about it because Jacob. Have I mentioned that I like Jacob? So I just finished chapters 7 and 8, and so in these chapters, Bella kind of comes to the conclusion Edward is a vampire and she doesn't care. God, I love it. I love that she doesn't care. It's just, it's so Bella. It's who she is. It's her personality. I love it. She doesn't care he's a vampire. I mean, who would? If you had a vampire, you wouldn't care, would you? So that was chapter 6. Chapter 7 was poor Angelus. We all know what happens in that chapter. We all know Bella almost gets attacked by some guys, if you know what I mean. And Edward comes and saves the day like the wonderful Batman he is. I'm so pumped for him to be Batman. But he comes, saves the day like his vigilante self, and then they have their talky discussion about mind reading, and it's just so fun, and I'm so excited to see this from Edward's perspective as well, because like, I can't wait for murderous Edward. You know, supposedly I heard Midnight Sun gets like darker than you would expect it to. I wonder if this is where it's gonna get darker than you would expect it to. She also like does not give a shit when he's like, yeah, I was following you. Like, girl, I guess it's not stalking if he's hot, right? I'm just kidding. It's still stalking. Like, that is still stalker behavior. So, another chapter in, and I just finished chapter 9. Bella just told Edward that she knows he's a vampire, and Edward was like, I'm dangerous. I'm Danger Man, Batman. And Bella was just not caring, and he was like, dude, I'm definitely fighting fate here. And I'm excited to see the scene from his perspective, because I just want to see how stupid he thinks Bella is. I love Bella, man. She is a relatable person sometimes, and like, I relate. We got some really iconic lines like, how long have you been 17? And about 3 things I was absolutely positive. It's just, every scene is iconic. Every scene is so memorable. Like, when people say Twilight is stupid, like, how do you say these scenes are stupid? Like, everyone knows these scenes. Everyone knows the 17 line. Like, everyone knows it. It's so fun. It's just fun. It is fun, trash, and I love it. And I'm just excited for Midnight Sun. Like, Midnight Sun is tomorrow. It's gonna come to my house tomorrow. I'm freaking out. I have to finish this today. Okay, so I just read the next 3 chapters. Chapters 10, 11, and 12. And in chapter 10, we get Bella asking Edward a bunch of questions, and then vice versa. And chapter 12, I think, is more of the same. And chapter 13 is where they start their trip to Seattle. And so in chapter 11, probably some of my favorite moments are Edward talking about him and mountain lions and Emmett and grizzly bears, and it's just fun all around to learn more about Edward. That chapter really is a lot of exposition though, so I don't have a lot of interesting takes on it. Chapter 11, Edward starts asking Bella a bunch of questions about her, and all I can think is like, what are these ridiculous questions? What is your favorite birthstone? Who has a favorite like birthstone or whatever those things are called? Like, I can only name like 2 maybe. Who has one of those? Comment down below if you have a favorite birthstone and what it is, because I don't, and that's a weird thing to have a favorite of. His whole line of questioning is just weird. Like, he wants to understand Bella more, but like, he's asking some surface level questions. Like, you need to get deep, dude. You need to ask her like what her biggest fear is, or what she did that she is most ashamed of. I really hate that question. I've gone on dates where guys will like ask me that question, and it's like, dude, we just met. I'm not like gonna open up to you on this one yet. So anyways, I just thought that was really funny about like all of his questions and all of her questions. Then we go and we get to the Seattle trip. It's not really going to Seattle, and they are going to the meadow, and I love everything about the meadow. So I just finished chapter 13, which is the meadow, and they kiss. I forgot how like giddy this stuff makes me. Like, oh my god, I'm like so giddy right now. What is my hair doing? So, you know, they just kissed, and I'm like, I really want to know how Edward's going to take that, and like how he's gonna react to Bella being, you know, human and like, you know, wanting it. So I am so loving it. I'm just loving it, and I'm so curious what his take on the whole meadow scene is, because like it's such a deep moment. It is where they first start, in my opinion, to really get intimate with each other and to really start discussing real topics that like a relationship would discuss. So like asking what they're afraid of and stuff like that. And I'm wondering what motivates him to say, as if you could outrun me, as if you could fight me off. Like, I'm wondering like what made him do that, because like to me that is like the one weirdest thing that he does, is like he has that like weird reaction. Like normally he's very thoughtful and brooding, but this feels like a very impulsive reaction for him. So I'm just curious what motivated that. And then also like the lion fell in love with the lamb. It's such a bad line, but it's so awesome. I love it. What a sick masochistic lion. What a stupid lamb. So fantastic. Terrible writing, but like it's iconic, it's memorable, it's something we all know and love, and I am so here for it. So I just read another chapter, and this chapter was chapter like 14. Yeah, chapter 14. And like this chapter was just kind of more questions about Edward and vampires, and you know, we learned about all the Cullens, and I love Jasper. He's probably like my favorite Cullen because he's just so tortured. He's like the tortured soul of the group, and I love it. So anyways, we learned about the Cullens, and then Bella asks about, do Emmett and Rosalie do the things that normal people do on their honeymoon? I forgot that part was in this book. I can't believe I read this when I was 12. Oh my god, Bella is thirsty. They have been dating for like a week, and she is thirsty. Wow. Okay, maybe 2 days later. I totally forgot that she straight up faints when they're making out. Like, it's like less than like, it's like maybe like a 5-second kiss, and she passes out. Okay, so I just finished chapters 15 and 16, and we met the Cullens, and it was so fun, and I love Alice, and I love Jasper. I think they are like the cutest ever, and they are probably my favorite couple in this whole series. I feel like they're the only like remotely healthy couple, aside from like Carlisle and Esme and maybe Rosalie and Emmett, but you know what I mean. And I was just so happy with it. And I'm curious what Edward was thinking during the whole thing, and I'm curious what everyone else was thinking during the whole thing. I don't know, that's another thing I'm really excited for in Midnight Sun. It's not just Edward's perspective, but also what is everyone else thinking, because he knows what they're thinking because he's Edward. So I'm really excited. I'm really pumped. It's gonna be a great fun time. At least I'm hoping it will be. We'll see. Tomorrow's the day. Well, actually today's the day because it's like 2 in the morning now, but you know what I mean. And it's time to play some baseball. Supermassive black hole. So I just read chapter 17 and 18, which is the baseball scene, and I absolutely love that scene, and every single time I think of it, I can only think of supermassive black hole. And I saw them use live one time. It was fantastic. They are awesome live. I learned so many new songs by them that I didn't know when I saw them live, and it was just fantastic. Highly recommend. But anyways, I'm so curious what this scene is like from Edward's perspective. I want to know what he's thinking when he sees all of these things happen. Like when he hears Alice have her vision, or sees Alice have, I don't know how his mind reading thing works, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm so pumped for that. And I want to know what James is thinking. I want to know what I want to know what everyone in that clearing is thinking, and I'm so excited for it. Okay, so I just finished chapters 19, 20, and 21, and so in these chapters, Bella had to say goodbye to her dad, and it just breaks my heart. Like, I cannot imagine that. I love my parents. I'm so lucky to have parents who really love me and who I really love and who've taken such good care of me, and like, I cannot imagine having to do what Bella has to do, you know? Like, it's just, it breaks my heart a little bit because my dad is really important to me, and it hurts, and I feel so bad, and I wonder how Edward feels. I wonder like what kind of guilt he's gonna come away with from this, because like, he's gotta blame himself, right? So I'm really curious. I'm looking forward to that, but also not, because I don't like negative emotions because they make me feel bad. But like, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how much emotion I get at this particular point in the story. Also, after, you know, Bella says goodbye to her dad and it's heartbreaking, she goes to Phoenix with Jasper and Alice, and I'm excited to see what Edward is doing during this whole escapade. I just get so upset with Bella at this point, because like, I just feel like she's really stupid. Even if James had her mom, what is to stop him from killing her mom right after he kills her? You know what I mean? Like, she's like, if it were me, that would be what I would think. Like, I wouldn't immediately go, okay, I've got to cut off everyone. I would go, okay, I need to tell these guys, we need to come up with a plan. That's what I would do if I were in Bella's shoes. And so it's frustrating when she doesn't do that. Like, you have help, get help. Your people clearly outnumber this one guy. I don't know, that's just my opinion. So, time to read the epic conclusion. So I just finished my reread of Twilight, and this has been one of the funnest rereads of my life, I think. This has been it's been a fun couple of days, reliving the Twilight days. So the last couple chapters are all about Bella sneaking away from Jasper and Alice to go meet with James, to go get killed, but then Edward swoops in and saves her like the angel he is, and then she goes to prom. And I love the whole prom part. It's great. Such a great callback to like the earlier part of the book where she was turning down all these guys. The last couple chapters are so filled with excitement. Like, there's so much going on, and I love that we figure out more about Alice in these last couple chapters. I wish they had included a little bit of that in the movie, because that was one of my favorite parts, was learning about Alice. I'm really excited to see Edward's take on everything that's going on, because with Bella, like, she's really groggy during most of the action that goes on. Like, she, you know, gets attacked, and then Edward shows up, but after she's attacked, like, she's out of it because she's hit her head. So I'm curious to see what went down once they were all there, and I'm wondering if we're gonna see his reaction to the videotape that James took of Bella when he was trying to get Bella to say, Edward, avenge me. So I'm excited to see that. I love this book. I know that the relationship is not the healthiest, but it is just such a fun read, and it really brings me back to 2008, like the nostalgia of being 12. It was such a simpler time when you're 12, you know, you're not worried about everything that's going on in the world, and it's nice to be brought back there. So if you're like looking for a reread right now, Reread Twilight. It's great. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Comment down below some of your favorite scenes from Twilight. What are you most excited for in Midnight Sun? I post videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. I will see you in my next one. Bye!